Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another two-player co-op quick hits edition. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother, Sean.
How we doing?
Good. I'm tone deaf if you haven't figured that out yet and you've been watching us. I don't know what the hell that sounded like, but I can't imagine what we're talking about today, Sean. What would that be?
Yeah, what is this tune we keep? So we just got back from Wonder Woman Thursday night showing.
So here's how we're going to do. We do it kind of funny does their reviews. We're going to start. We're going to talk about it. Spoiler free for the first, few minutes or so. And then we'll get into spoilers and everything. So it is spoiler free for right now, Sean.
Until we
will give you plenty of
basic
warning. Sean, what did you think?
I absolutely loved it.
DC?
Going way back, not way back, but I guess
Bravo.
before we saw even the first trailer, I was maybe skeptical is the best way to put it. I'm like, I don't know that Wonder Woman, I don't know that this is going to work. I just didn't know. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, not that I didn't care because I wanted it to be good. I just didn't have high hopes. Then I started seeing the trailers. I'm like, okay, this actually looks like it should be pretty good now. And it still blew those expectations away.
I think of it like this. So I go all the way back to Affleck as Batman. I was like, what? Eisenberg as Luthor. I was like, what? And then Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I said, Gal Gadot. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
How is she ever going? First off, she's too skinny.
I was curious, so I looked it up on the way over here. She's 5'10". She's not tiny.
No, she's super tall.
She's tall.
Yeah, which Amazonians are tall also. But I will say, again, spoiler-free thoughts, Gal Gadot was awesome. She was amazing in this movie. When we saw Batman versus Superman, of course, when she came, spoiler alert, whatever, when she saved the day, everybody in our theater clapped.
Right.
When I saw it the second time with Dad, it was less people in there, but people still went nuts. Like, Ben Affleck's Batman was the best part of that movie. She was by far the second best part of the movie, and she was probably only in it for less than 10 minutes. Like, she was awesome.
Yeah.
So I had my hopes up. Kind of like you. I still was like, man, I don't know if she can carry her own movie.
Right.
See the first trailer. This looks really, really good. After that, I saw the second trailer. I was like, okay, now this is looking great. And then there was a third trailer that came out. I never watched that. I was like, I don't need to see any more.
Now, again, spoiler free. In hindsight, Batman versus Superman could have learned a lot from the Wonder Woman trailers.
Yes.
I had no idea what was going to happen in this movie, other than, okay, it's like a period piece, like it's during the war.
Right. We knew it was World War I.
But, like, who's the bad guy? Like, what's going on? What's the conflict? And, like...
Yeah. They never showed the bad guy in the trailers.
They didn't ruin it at all.
He did. Yeah. The bad guy, and I'm not going to say it in case you don't know, but the bad guy was announced. Not really announced, but when they did interviews, it did come out that guy, that is the villain. Okay. Still don't know who it was,
right?
But that was the villain, and of course, me being a fan of a certain video game series, I was like, okay,
I'm
this
interested.
is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Gal was great. Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine.
Yes.
Freaking awesome.
He killed it.
I haven't seen that guy in a lot of movies. I've only seen the first Star Trek, which I loved, and I was like, this guy is the new Kirk. This guy is
Star
awesome.
Trek. I saw, what was it? Horrible Bosses 2.
Oh, that's right. Yes. And
I feel like I've seen him in something else, but
that played a lot into this. His comedic timing was
great.
He
was, yeah.
So you take, again, we're going to stay spoilers free, but you take what people said about Man of Steel to a lesser extent, Batman versus Superman to the next level. If it's just all dark and gloomy and everybody's sad and there's no jokes, like there's still supposed to be humor other than, yeah, I'm your son's friend. Yeah, I figured it, the cape. And is she with you? I thought she was with you, and they gave away that in the trailers.
Right.
This had so much humor, but it did not feel forced it all.
Right.
It just felt earned. The timing was great. The chemistry between those two was great. I still spoiler free. This, I think, Man of Steel / DC's vision of Superman could have learned a lot from this movie also.
Yeah. Okay, so I was going to ask, where Man of Steel, better than BVS?
So I rank them like this. At the bottom,
Suicide Squad.
And there's nothing even close. It's like Suicide Squad's under the table. You can't even see me here. Then it's, God, it makes me sad, but then it's Batman versus, like Suicide Squad, the more I think, it's like a 4 or 5 out of 10. Batman vs. Superman, 7.5 out of 10. I put Man of Steel going into this because I'm really tired right now because I stayed up till like after 11 watching Man of Steel again last night because I was like, I feel like it's going to be this or Man of Steel because I like Man of Steel better than Batman and Superman. So it's either going to be this or that's the best movie. I need to watch Man of Steel again. I watched Man of Steel again. I still love that movie. 8.8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was freaking awesome. Like if I had to put a score on it, this was like a 9.5 out of 10. Like I couldn't ask for more from a superhero movie. I think I liked it better than Civil War. I think I liked it better than really any Marvel movie I've seen, and that's not just me being a fanboy.
Yeah.
What did you think? Like,
so it's by far the best DC movie.
Yeah.
DCU.
EU. Yes.
Yeah.
Dark Knight's still the best.
I
comic
think
book
Dark
movie of all time.
Knight has now, for better or for worse, right or wrong, Dark Knight has reached Jordan levels of GOAT to where if you try to tell me another superhero movie is better than it, I don't want to hear it. There's no way. It can't happen. End of story. 10 out of 10. Top.
Yes.
I would be hard-pressed to not put this as number 2.
Over Batman Begins, over Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, definitely over them.
Okay.
I want to see it again to confirm. And again, prisoner of the moment. Twofold here. To me, it's between this and Logan for number 2.
I think they're such different movies. I still put Logan ahead of this. Just because I've got 16 years I think. Did it come out in 2000 or was it 2001?
X-Men?
Yeah.
2000, I think.
So 15, 16 years, something like that, invested in that character and invested in Hugh Jackman as that character.
Yep.
I think I still put it above that. For me, it's Dark Knight is 1. It's a solid 1, like you said. There's nothing coming close.
Yep.
Logan is probably 2.
I need
think
to see
still
Logan
stand by that.
again, and I need to see it soon because I just saw this.
So you don't
I
forget
need to see
this.
it soon, yeah, and compare them. But it's tough. Yeah, they're 2 totally different movies, and then rounding out the top 5. God, I don't know.
I mean, if the original Avengers was awesome.
It was.
As much as I hate on
I'm
Marvel
probably
and stuff,
putting
it
Civil
was
War
awesome.
4. 5 is. I mean, it could be Winter Soldier. It could be Avengers. I don't know. It's tough.
Those other 2 Batman movies are still way up there for me. They're way up there. I'm not going to say.
I mean, yeah. All 3 of those are top 10. They're definitely, I would say Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises are in that 6 to 10 range somewhere.
Yeah. And Dark Knight Rises, trust me, it has its faults, as Rasan and I have discussed many times. By the way, shout out to Rasan. Originally, he was going to be here with us. He and Cammie welcomed their new baby girl in this world, so shout out to you. Love you, man.
Congratulations.
Salud. Yeah, I mean, okay, what else do we want to talk about this before we get into spoilers? I guess just what are your overall thoughts? Because I want to talk spoilers. Because I had one thing that I thought as we got towards the end of it I wasn't going to like, and then all of a sudden I was like, nope, I don't really have any complaints with this movie.
I got a couple nitpicky things, but yeah, we'll get into that in the spoiler section. Spoiler-free thoughts. I don't have anything big to complain about. I don't have anything to complain. I mean, there's a couple nitpicky things that I'm like, could have been different, but I don't know. I really, really liked it. I'm going to give it, if we're calling Dark Knight a 10 out of 10,
Dark Knight is a 12 out of 10.
This is probably, in the 9 to 9.5 range. Even 9 seems like too low.
It was so
9.5. I'll give it a 9.5.
The only thing I will say, I do have one complaint, and that's seeing Chris Pine in this movie does make me wish, while he was great as Steve Trevor, obviously this movie takes place in 1918 or 16, whenever World War I was, I forget. And it was 4 years into the war, so don't even try to catch me saying what year that would be. But obviously, this is his one shot. I hate that. Because I remember before they casted Batman, and again, I love Affleck as Batman, Chris Pine was one of those guys that I thought of as like, definitely see him as Bruce Wayne. Pretty sure he could pull off Batman too. And again, seeing him in this, or Green Lantern was the one that I think makes the most sense because he looks just like Hal. But seeing him in this, I'm like, man, I wish he wasn't just a one-shot deal because he was so good. And the supporting characters in this were great too. There wasn't a big cast of characters in this. They really focused on a small group of people, both good and evil. Yep. I really liked that. It made it all feel close-knit. Oh, and the Amazons and everything, that was great.
Claire Underwood.
Who's that? Oh, okay, right. But what's her real name? Robin Wright Penn was great because she's just great. Who was Diana's mom? What was her name?
She looked familiar.
She looked very familiar, but I couldn't remember what her name was.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, I think we're going to get into spoilers now. So this is your warning. If you have not yet seen Wonder Woman, go see it, then come back and nerd out with us as we get into spoilers. Again, this is your spoiler warning. From here on out, we are going to spoil the hell out of this movie. Thank you guys so much for watching. Coming back once you've seen it. Spoilers. Sean. I loved... So Ares is the villain. The whole time I wanted to do it in the middle of the movie. Obviously, when they're looking, and the bad German guy looks so familiar. I feel like I've seen him in a million movies.
I wanted to actually look that
but
up.
I can't think of his name. I called it at the beginning. I said I do not trust this guy.
So here's the thing. I was right there with you because
I didn't think he was going to be Ares. I thought he was going to be like a Lex Luthor kind of guy.
Right. I kind of pegged it from the beginning. As soon as I saw him, and then as things started unfolding, it kind of kept at when they were talking to his secretary on the phone, and then he's like perked up. He's like, "Whoa, I don't like this,
the castle or whatever."
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, he's clearly a bad guy here, whatever. I didn't trust him because he is the.
I heard you and Brittany whispering. I was like, okay, so
he's
they
basically
know who this guy is.
big. He's like the main antagonist of this season of Fargo.
Oh, he looks like he would be in Fargo.
And so, all right, let me find him. So yeah, I knew kind of from the beginning, Danny.
His name was the German guy. Yeah.
What do I know him from?
I've seen him in a lot of stuff. I knew it was going to be too. I was like, this guy's not Ares. But now I did not think the Fargo guy was going to be Ares either.
No, so one of my nitpicky complaints, which in the end I think I'm actually, I guess, okay with. Oddly enough, never mind. I'm looking at the other guy. The other guy, Dusseldorf or whatever his name was, Fugelsang. What's his name?
It's close to both of those. Fugledork. I don't know.
Ludendorff I never saw either of these, but he was Poseidon in Wrath of the Titans and Clash of the Titans.
Okay. I saw the first one.
He was Stryker in Wolverine, X-Men Origins.
Didn't see it. Thank God I didn't see that movie.
I feel like I picture him as like a younger version of himself. So whatever I know him from is probably an older movie.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish they would have done. Obviously, they did some CGI for that guy, for Ares. I didn't really like the fact that he was Ares with that guy's head still. I'm like, can we like make him like take on true Ares form and not be this old British guy anymore? Like, that was a little off-putting. At least they put the helmet on him for most of it. But
exactly.
That was my one nitpicky. I'm like, it is hard for me to believe in this dude is Aries. And I
Right.
know he's not. Well, I mean, maybe I missed it, but he is not Aries.
No, he is Aries.
He's
'Cause
not
then
just
when they
some guy who Aries like.
No, because when they showed him when after
He
Zeus had
looked
killed
just
him,
like
he was
a
just
younger
him,
version of
just
him.
younger. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, okay.
I guess.
I didn't like when the fight started where he was just Aries as
Right.
like he would be in Percy Jackson, whatever those movies were that Noah watched. He's just like a dude in a coat. I was like, oh, this is not
Right.
going to be a good fight. And then all of a sudden he just makes his
Then he
armor.
went-
I was like,
yeah.
okay, now you look like the God of War. I can handle this. And again, they put the helmet over his goofy looking face because
Right.
he didn't look very intimidating. It was cool. It is weird to see Zeus as a good guy just because I'm so used to God of War.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, Zeus isn't a bad guy in Greek mythology. He is the god of gods. He's the king of kings and all that stuff.
The King of Kings.
I just lost my train of thought. What else was I going to say? Something about him. Oh my god. This is why it's like I feel so bad because I want to take notes during the movie, but I'm like I'm not going to be that guy.
Right, yeah.
I'm not going to be that guy.
I've already forgotten what my other minuscule complaint was. That was the one was him as Aries, but
I hated that Steve Trevor had to die. Obviously, I was like, excuse me, like I don't think he's. Obviously, he's going. I mean, it's like I said, it's 100 years ago.
right.
Oh, this is one nitpicky thing I had. Remind me to talk about hope after this, but Diana said at the end of Batman versus Superman. Okay. After it's all done, they're at Clark's funeral. I walked away from humanity 100 years ago. But the whole end of this movie was about how she did believe in men. That
right.
she sees, like she said in her monologue at the end, she sees the bad in them and everything, but this is what she's going to dedicate herself to. Not a big deal because it's just like you're really two different movies and stuff, but it's like she said she walked away from Mankind 100 years ago. I kept waiting for that moment. And I was like, maybe she's going to walk away just because Steve died, but then she realized he loved her and all this other stuff. I didn't think that didn't fit because that's what it just kept playing in my mind. I'm like, why is she going to walk away from humanity 100 years ago?
Right.
But what I was going to say about hope is, so while I love Man of Steel and I love that interpretation of Superman, after seeing this, I get what big time, because I am still a Batman fan above everything. If you can tell, this guy too. Superman fans, while a lot of them did like Man of Steel, they had issues with him killing Zod. They had issues with all the people dying and the destruction and everything. It was more the dying and the destruction and everything gave into the fact that, like, while yes, he did save people and stuff like that, you didn't have this sense of just, because he says that the signal on it, the sign on his chest, it's not an S. On my planet, it means hope. But they never really gave that feeling of that Superman, you know, truth, justice, and whatever. Like it was missing that from Man of Steel. And I could never put my finger on why people felt that way. I still don't know that I can, but now I know what that looks like in Wonder Woman. You know, it was just like it was still uplifting and everything, and they didn't have to destroy a whole city and everything, and she comes to realization that men are good and all this other stuff, and it's just like, that's one thing that jumped out at me, is it seems like Superman could have definitely learned from that, to where men are good, there is hope. Like,
right.
she saved a village of people. Of course, that was, I didn't see that coming. I should have probably seen that coming, that they were going to aim the chemicals at that village. Didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah.
But I just want to touch on that because I think that's something that a lot of people that are big time Superman fans didn't like about Man of Steel, because there was not this sense of hope for the future and all that other stuff. And I just think Wonder Man did it great. Wonder Woman, not Wonder Man.
Sexist. Yeah, I was torn between, when I thought I came to this realization, I'm like, aha, I poked a hole in it. But then I started thinking about it, and I guess I didn't really. It almost, I don't even want to open this can of worms, but
You going to bring up Uncharted? Ludonarrative
Wow.
dissonance or something?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Just now, it's not as bad as I originally thought, but because it goes back to the whole thing, well, they're trying to kill me, so I'm going to kill them. But this whole thing about she believes all people are good and they don't want to be doing this. They're under this corruption of Ares. But she definitely killed some dudes.
Because they weren't under the corruption. If that's the one thing I still don't know.
Well, no, but she didn't. She believed they were.
Right.
All humans are good, and it's just Ares is corrupting them. She definitely. Now, granted, they were all shooting at her and trying to kill her, so I get it. But and she did just knock a lot of them out. She was hitting them with shields and whatever. But
if she hit me with that shield, I'd be dead.
Oh, the other thing. This could be said on almost every superhero movie. Going back to Logan. Having seen Logan, I wish more superhero movies could be like that. And I know they can't because you want to open it up to a bigger audience, but dudes are getting like shot and stabbed, shot with bullets.
Trevor looks up and sees
bow and arrows.
He sees the sword through the roof.
Right.
There's no blood. The blade's perfectly clean. There's not
one drop of blood.
Right.
I mean, you see Diana's arm bleeding like way in the beginning. It's like, whatever. The other thing that I thought was weird, I don't know why this stuck out to me. I was like, what was the point of that? Right before she found out, or basically as she was finding out that dude was Ares, and she does this. I don't have my sword. And then they cut away back to Steve, and something's going on over there. And then they come back, and she's like, and she just jumps back down. Okay, I got my sword.
I saw that too.
I'm like, what was the point of that? Why do we have to cut away so she could go back on the roof and get her sword?
And why wouldn't Ares be like,
Oh, right, yeah.
I sounded like Ned Reed there.
Yeah, no wonder you're extinct.
I liked the villain. I liked the humor in this was so great. Now they gave away some of it in the trailer. They gave away I can get involved in fisticuffs or whatever she said and everything, but it was more like Gal Gadot. I know I already said it, but I think she was a very, very good actress in this movie. Like, not just. I heard somebody say this, and now I know what they meant. I think it was John Campy. I was listening to some bits of Wonder Woman reviews, spoiler-free stuff, so I knew I didn't have to worry. He said, do not take this as a knock on Gal Gadot, but he said he thinks her best acting in this movie might have been when she wasn't speaking. And after seeing it, I know what he means. Like when you think about all the things, all the way she emoted in her face, and when she's got the sword, she's
very
looking around like,
emotive.
why can't I have my sword and shield? I'm just walking through London. What's the big deal?
Right. Yeah.
I thought that was great. I don't know. I just absolutely love this movie. The one thing I was confused about, and then I realized, and why I wish Rasan was here. Diana is not always a goddess or a demigod. In this, she is a demigod. She was created by Zeus solely, kind of like, I guess, Kratos. So my thing was like, why is she even, at one point I was like, why is she doing all this? It looks cool, but I'm like, or no, that's not what it was. Once she realizes, that's the other thing. It's like she didn't really have all her powers until she realized what she was. So like if somebody would have shot her, would it have killed her? Because it killed the Amazons, who they were just Amazons. They weren't demigods like she was. I don't know. Something of that was weird. I think.
Well, they said the only thing that can kill a god is a god.
And that was obvious to me from the beginning. Was it obvious to you that she was the god killer? That was the one thing I wanted to bring up.
That's what I thought. That was what I originally thought, and then they're like, "Here's the god killer. It's a sword."
I know, but I was like, bullshit. There's no way.
I bought into it at that point. He's like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, my first instinct was she is the god killer. But
how does she get her sword back 100 years later in Batman vs Superman when it just went into Ares' hand? It just melted. Because that's the exact same sword. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's the same sword, the same hilt and everything.
Right. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in Wonder Woman 2. The other thing that is, again, not a knock on this movie, because you can say it about any kind of movie that has somebody that's immortal, basically. Now, granted, I guess we don't really know. It was kind of vague in terms of the timeline, but I'm going to assume that not like 1,000 years had passed to go from like little 5-year-old looking Diana to 30-year-old Diana or whatever.
But then
But now 100 years later, she's like, I'm going to reach this age and then I'm going to stop aging. But depending on how long this whole DC universe lasts, we're going to see her age over the next 10 years or so. It's like, what's going on?
She's
here?
like,
so she went from
Solid
like, exactly. She
She's
got
got
to this
rapid
age and
aging.
she stopped for 100 years, but then she started aging again. I know you can't.
No,
Again,
know
I'm
what
being
you
very
mean.
nitpicky and it has nothing to do with this movie. It's just a lot of movies that try to pull off that angle. But
Well, and one of the other things that when I was talking about how well she acts when she's not talking is one of the things that the part that I love the most, other than when she saved the day in Batman vs Superman, is when stupid Doomsday knocks her on her ass and she kind of looks at him. She's got that smirk like, okay, this is gonna be fun.
Right, yeah.
She has that. I love her smile, I guess is what I'm saying. When she had that look a couple times in the movie. She's like, all right, yeah, this is gonna be a challenge. All right, let's go, let's kick some ass.
yeah.
The whole. What did you think about the action scenes? So what was the very first? So all the training scenes and stuff, those montages were cool. I didn't realize
that was again another minor. It seemed at first I was like, "This is cool," and then it was like, "Okay, getting a little."
They're going to be
repetitive.
training for
How many times are they going to pull this move where they're like running, or they jump off a horse, or they're just running and they jump and they barrel roll and
They did a lot
and
of
then
slow-mo.
pull out the bow and arrow and like
There was a
we
lot
get
of
it. They're
Matrix.
good with the bow and arrow. Yeah,
There's a lot of Matrix in this
overload.
movie.
But yeah, sorry, go on.
That was cool. I did not think. I had no idea that the humans were going to storm.
Yeah, that was kind of.
Did not expect that. Like, I knew he crashed. They've shown that a million times. That's what sets up the whole story.
Right.
I didn't know he's getting chased by Nazis and they were going to storm the beaches and all get murdered by the Amazons. That was awesome.
Right.
Although there was like a fleet of ships. So did they just not follow the ships? I
guess
that
only
I thought
a few
was,
of them. Maybe after a few of them went through the little
Yeah.
force field thing, the rest of them were like, nope.
Again, that's probably a cinema sins. They did a cinema
Sins.
Cinema Sins came out today for Logan, and it was so good. They point out that when they're running through the forest, he was like, don't these kids have superpowers? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
Off topic. So I love that fight scene. I loved it was so epic, even though they gave some of it away in the trailers. When she walks up out of the bunker and she's like, "No, hell yeah!"
That was maybe
awesome.
my favorite part of the movie.
It was so awesome. It was so well done. And the fact that her doing that made Chris Pine and all his buddies be like, well, hell yeah, we're going
Let's
now
go.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
She's drawing the fire. We're going to get these guys. We are going to save that village. Again, inspiring. It was more like you never really saw Superman. And that's why I think they did the death of Superman too early. We'll see how it plays out in Justice League. I mean, spoiler alert, whatever. You never saw Superman really inspiring people. That's why I didn't feel like I was shocked that they did his death, but not shocked like, oh man, no, just like, oh damn. And then I was like, oh yeah, Doomsday. Why else would they do Doomsday? Oh, why did they kill him so early? Oh, he's not dead. All right, whatever.
That was not to get too off topic, but I think I've only seen that movie twice. I saw it in theaters, and then I saw it
again last week.
The extended
So
cut
I've seen
or
it
whatever.
like 4 times now.
For whatever reason, I think more the second time than the first time. I got a little, which is funny because I already knew how it ended. I got a little choked up the second time when he dies, more so than I did the first time.
I also think when you watch it's because the Ultimate Cut actually has more scenes of him like as Clark and as Superman and like doing Superman things and like smiling and stuff like that.
Right.
I agree.
But even the first time, obviously if I knew it the first time, I knew it the second time. Spoiler alert.
I heard he said it. He's dead. He's coming back. Yeah.
Never once did I believe he was actually
No, because
dead.
they're not going to waste Superman on 2 movies and be done with it.
Right. It's like we know the whole death of Superman, the death and return of Superman, whatever.
Right.
Like it just they couldn't. I get it. You couldn't not include that in. It didn't have to be done already.
No.
But you couldn't not include the death and return of Superman in the cinematic universe, whatever. But especially doing it this early, like over the top, like, yeah, okay, he died.
But then
we know
don't
he's
even
not
let us
dead.
buy into it. Just end
Right,
the movie
and
with
you
a coffin.
already tease it, and you to put it lightly, you tease that
You
he's
ain't
not
even
actually
teasing,
dead.
You're just like, hey guys, he's not
by
dead.
the end of the movie, yeah, it's like
Why would
we'll
you
leave
do
him dead
that?
for 20 minutes. Yeah,
Why would you do that? Oh.
but anyway,
And Henry Cavill is a good Superman. Yeah, we're completely
I
off
like him.
topic.
I like him.
That fight scene was cool. Once they got into the village, that was cool. When she went like berserker rage at the end, that was when she saw Steve die. That set her off. And not for 1 second did I think she was going to buy it when she was seeing paradise all around her. So like, oh yeah, I think this is good. I'm like, no,
yeah, this is pretty good. I like this.
What I will say, I do like Batman versus Superman was a long movie. With what they were trying to do, again, I think they could have cut out all the Africa stuff, even in the extended cut. Just make the trial about Metropolis. Everything could have still been done the same way. Man of Steel, I didn't really feel like it was a long movie until it got to that fight scene at the end, because that whole thing just went on forever, and there was just nothing left of Metropolis. This, like, I did see some people say they thought it was too long. It was a perfect length. I didn't think it dragged at all. I didn't think there was any flow. Like, I felt that way about Guardians of the Galaxy, that it just went on for. I was like, okay, this is just taking forever. It just felt like it was about 10, 15 minutes too long. I didn't feel that way about this at all.
See, with the exception of what I already touched on with in the beginning, a combination of the training Amazon part and then the Amazon versus the Nazi part. Maybe a hair. It's not even that it was too long. It was just too repetitive. Like the same barrel roll, slow motion through midair. I'm like, okay, can you show something new or just move on? But with the exception of that, and that's a minor exception, there's not one part of this movie where I wasn't invested. I was always like, not necessarily on the edge of my seat, but just always like never wanting it, I guess, to go quicker or be shorter. Like, it was what, 215, 220?
Yeah. Well,
I thought it was fine.
It's also like, it seems like these, like, Man of Steel had a long ending after the ending. Not as bad as Batman vs. Superman. That thing went on for like, I think it lasted for 15 or 20 minutes after the fight ended.
Yeah.
Because you had the two funerals, you had the wedding ring or the engagement ring that she gets, and all this other stuff. And you had Batman going to Arkham, or going to the jail to see Lex, and then you had to go back to the funeral and all that. I'm like, holy God, and you can end it now. It's okay.
Right.
This didn't do that. It ended, and it was just like, and here she is back in present day. Awesome. I was hoping, I figured they would have done something present day. I like the way they did it. Of course, I would like to see Batman in every movie. I like that he at least sent her a love note. I mean, not no. He sent her a note, and that was cool. I just wish Batman could be in every movie, but he's not.
So,
yes.
What was I going to say?
I am confused about why she's in Paris. So, like, this is obviously after Batman versus Superman.
Right.
And maybe this will make sense when we see Justice League in 5 months. What month is it? Yeah, a little bit over 5 months from now. Why is she in Paris? Isn't she supposed to be forming the Justice League with Bruce?
Maybe that's where, I don't know.
What were you going to say?
What do we know, since I'm obviously more in tune with the whole Marvel thing? What is planned / announced for the DC movies?
We have Justice League. We have Aquaman is going into production pretty soon, I think. They've got James Wan is directing it. They might actually already be filming it, because they had somebody post a picture of Mara from Aquaman, not from Justice League. So they've got that. Flash has been going back and forth. Queen Mara.
Oh.
Yeah. Flash has been going back and forth. That thing is in so much limbo. Supposedly they're never going to make a Cyborg solo movie. I don't want to say that.
Okay, so that's what I was getting at.
And the Batman is happening.
Are you really going to make a Superman movie, a Batman movie, a Wonder Woman movie, a Flash movie, an Aquaman movie, but not a Cyborg movie? Especially when apparently Cyborg's a pretty big deal in Justice League.
I mean, the movie. It's all based around him, which I don't
even really. I care more about Aquaman than I ever thought I would have.
I don't care about Flash. Maybe that will change.
I think I will. I think that will. Right now, I don't care.
But I
never got into the whole. My buddy Mark, I don't know if he's watching. He says I need to watch the Flash.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. Like, I kind of want to watch it, but every time I see a commercial for it, it just, I don't know if it's because it's on CW or what. It reeks of like Smallville or something. It just looks like it's not a superhero show. It's like a drama. It's like,
right.
I don't know. And I'm sure that's not the case because I hear nothing but great things about it. But as of right now, I don't know enough about The Flash to care. I certainly don't really care about Aquaman, but I love Jason Momoa, so okay.
I think
you're not going to do anything to get me to care about Cyborg. I guarantee
I
you
will
that.
never. I won't see a Cyborg movie. I just won't.
I mean, I guess we never had. Well, we did have a Hulk movie, but
I mean, kinda.
But we never had like a Black Widow movie. So I guess
we
you
had
don't
Lucy, which
have
was basically
to-
a Black Widow movie.
Basically, yeah.
They need to stick to, if they want to make money and make this successful, you've got what I still say is the best on-screen Batman they've ever had. They need to make the Batman. They need to sell Ben Affleck on not leaving. You need to give us Man of Steel 2, Man of Tomorrow, whatever you want to call it. You need to focus on the Trinity and the Justice League. Everything else, I would have them just, if everything else goes well. Now, I think we will care about Aquaman. I think he looks like a complete badass. And that movie is happening, period. I just wish they would focus on the Trinity, because now it is crazy that we've gotten a Superman movie and a Wonder Woman movie, a Suicide Squad movie, and we're going to have a Justice League movie before we actually get a Batman movie. Now, you could argue Batman versus Superman was...
It was a Batman movie.
It was basically a Batman movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It just seems like we're too... With Superman fighting Zod, and then Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman fighting Doomsday.
Where do you go
and
from here?
Wonder Woman fighting Ares. I don't know that we're ever going to get a Batman versus the Joker kind of movie in this universe. Like, it's like to go back to Joker at this point, it just seems like, well, okay, we've already gotten through. I mean, I guess with Batman, he's only been there through the Doomsday fight now, but it just seems like, I'm sure it would be a great movie, but as far as being believable, I feel like Joker has to be a side.
Yep.
I don't know, like
that's
pulling
why
the string,
hope
almost like a Lex Luthor kind of role, like in the background pulling the strings, but you have
Deathstroke. That's why I hope there's, because nobody has really said if the new version of the Batman is still going to have Deathstroke. I want it because all I can think of is that Arkham Origins fight between Batman and Deathstroke that was just so freaking awesome. And just that test footage when Affleck was still directing it, when he just showed Deathstroke coming out of the thing, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, you can have Joker pulling the strings, and there are rumors now going around that whatever the Batman ends up being, they are throwing all the villains into it. Maybe it is going to go back to being an Arkham Asylum kind of a movie thing. I don't know. But Batman, because he's still he's still a loner, even when the Justice League stuff is going on. He can be like, Clark, get the hell out of here. I got this. You know?
Yeah.
And Clark and Kal-El is very selective in when he knows, like, he can hear Lois Lane in trouble across the world, but he can't find out where Martha is.
Right.
Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name?
Oh, I remember one other point I wanted to bring up. I don't even know if you ever saw the movie. I'm not comparing the two. I'm not trying to take a stab at DC. But the whole thing with Dusseldorf, I already forgot his name. Ludendorff. With his little gas canister.
Like Diana really wouldn't have known he just breathed something in, and that's why he had superpowers. That he wasn't really Ares. That annoyed me too.
Both the visual effects and like the crazy like superhuman power that he gets from it.
Harry Potter.
No,
I don't know.
Iron Man 3.
I haven't seen it.
That's like what Iron Man 3 is about. It's not a gas per se. I think it's like an injection. I don't even. It's been a while since I've seen it, but they like have this weird like glowy thing going out. Like you see like light almost permeating through their skin, and they get like superhuman powers. I'm like, I'm not saying they're copying Iron Man. This is a better movie than Iron Man 3, but that was for like it or not, that was pretty much a ripoff, at least from a visual effects standpoint. It's like that's exactly what happens in Iron Man 3, but again, minor nitpicks here.
Picking nits. So, final thoughts here. Do you now have hope for DC? And
that's what I wanted to ask you. Did you? I know it's kind of hard to say because but after, like it or not saying it was a bad movie, the disappointment that was Batman versus Superman.
It was a disappointment.
Did that make you more or less excited about this movie? Like, were you more excited because you knew that this had to be good?
Before the Rotten Tomatoes score hit for Batman versus Superman, I was more excited for that movie than anything in my life. Then those scores hit, and I was like, "Oh my God, no, this can't be happening." Now I will say, probably once I saw Doomsday was a cave troll, I was like, "Oh, I don't know anymore." Like, I figured they were all going to team up, but like, what's happening?
Yeah.
This, I was very excited when I saw the first trailers, like I said. However, like, again, shout out to Rasan. We text nonstop all day, and I was like, we were both like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, Suicide Squad. They completely fooled me with Suicide Squad. I thought that was going to be really, really good. So I went into Wonder Woman like, no, it looks really good. I'm going to temper my expectations because I don't have any investment in Wonder Woman.
Right.
Like, I have investment in Batman and in Joker and in Superman and in all these other I love Harley Quinn. It was so good to finally see her on the screen. I was glad again, the characters in Suicide Squad were great. The movie was not. But then once the review embargo broke Tuesday morning at midnight or Wednesday, whatever it was, and I woke up and I Googled Wonder Woman Rotten Tomatoes. So the first thing I did, I woke up, I peed, I walked in the bathroom, I grabbed my phone, I said, Wonder Woman Rotten Tomatoes, 96%. Oh my God. From that moment on, I was just like in my head nonstop, could not wait to see this movie. And it's still, I would say it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
And it does to answer my own question, this does give me hope. Like, DC is not dead. Maybe they just let Patty Jenkins direct every movie from here on out. I'm not familiar with Matt Reeves' work because I haven't seen any of his movies, but everybody says he's a great director. The thing that I'm not worried about them making a good Batman movie. It's not impossible to make a bad Batman movie because we all know Batman and Robin happen. But with Affleck and like that movie is going to be good. As long as Affleck is in it. I still worry that there are people like John Schnepp and the guys on Movie Talk that are like, they still say Justice League is going to be a reboot. I don't buy into that as much because I think WB had to know what they had on their hands here even before Justice League filmed. This definitely gives me hope for Justice League to be good. I'm still going to go into that very reserved expectations because it is still Snyder. I feel so horrible for everything he's going through. Now you've got Whedon coming in to finish the post-production and stuff, and he's handling some of the reshoots. But I have hope for Justice League. To me, if Justice League is another Batman versus Superman, then I'm going to be crushed all over again.
So I know this is the first true Wonder Woman movie, but it almost seems like this could play out similar to Marvel. You'll have Justice League. You'll have several Justice League movies that will be good, but just as Captain America 2 and 3 are pretty unanimously the best MCU movies, I think this might be that kind of thing where, Justice League was good, but I mean, it was fun, it was whatever, but Wonder Woman was just good. Yeah. The same way people talk about, like, Winter Soldier. I think maybe that's what we have here.
There's no world building that they had to do in this. This is just... Right. We've got an origin story to tell 100 years before anything in Batman vs. Superman happened. Let's just tell a good story.
Yep.
And they did it.
Yep.
That's what I still think can be good. Justice League now is they've formed the team. They combined 5 movies into one with Batman vs. Superman. No matter what you think about it, I still say it's a good movie. Many
good, not great
issues. But they got through that. And now they got through Suicide Squad and whatever that was. Now they've got this. Now they have positive.
I think momentum. They are hitting their stride now.
I think they were like, I still say Man of Steel, go back and watch that. You can borrow my Blu-ray.
I've seen it a few times.
It is so good.
I think it's better than Batman versus Superman.
Yes, it is.
But it's
I'm not going to say it's better than Winter Soldier or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have hope for the future. I'm a big DC fan, as you couldn't tell. I'm a big Batman fan. Yeah. Those are my final thoughts.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think about Wonder Woman? I hope you've seen it already if you've watched till the end of this video. Hit that comment section below. Let us know what you think. If you liked what you see here, make sure you hit that subscribe button over there. Hit that like button if you like the content. It means a lot to us. Yeah, I'm so actually more than anything, I'm probably relieved that this movie is what it is. And I did always say when I was talking to Rasan, I was like, you know what? I think you could probably build in like 5 percentage points on Rotten Tomatoes just for social reasons, just because it's a female. But I'm like, no point in this was I like there's a feminist agenda
It's good
or anything
because
like this. No, this is good because they just made a great, I will call this movie certified great comic book / superhero movie, no matter what the gender was of the main hero.
Heroine. With an E.
That's it. Thanks, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you missed the insanity that was episode 75, go back and watch that. We split it up into 2 parts, so you don't have to watch the whole 3 in 3 hours and 15 minutes if you don't want to see it. But if you're curious about what our top 75 games are of all time, go ahead and check that out. There's no Wonder Woman games in there. I'm sorry.
There's no Wonder Woman games.
There's no games. There are Batman games. There are Batman games, so it kind of ties in.
Some of those may be on there.
Yeah, go ahead and check that out. Come back next week for the podcast. It's one of my favorite episodes we do every year. I mean, it's only been 2 years now, but one of my favorite episodes. We're going to do our E3 prediction. So come back for that Tuesday and Wednesday next week. But until that time, Sean, go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for playing.